know what you thinking. The scripts freak you out? Well, there's, to be exact, 7,941 node, and this is not the heaviest I've done, definitely not the heaviest I've done. The sources weight about 4 terabytes and the outputs weight about 500 gigabytes. So this is the script, the master script of all the stock footages I've pulled out from the dyeing studio to make the stock footage back out of them. And I happen to gain a lot of experience in preparing the awful footages that were shot like not for the stock footage pack, that just for, you know, local production. Some of them are pretty good, but most of them had to be cleaned up and keyed out. So I happen to gain like a lot of experience in preparing the footages for a final user. By the final user, I mean some artist who just wants, you know, something with alpha to be easily thrown into his composite and ready to go. So I will do like a series of videos because it will be a lot easier to download footage packs in parts as it weighs too much. I'll begin with charges and then we will take a look on dust, flames, and everything is filmed on either the Red camera or Alexa camera, depending on the situation. I also have snow, like very high quality real snow filmed outdoors. You know, not some kind of LA studio filmed snow where there's no snow, but real Russian Siberian snow where there's cold and a lot of real snow. Yeah, we will break down all of this stuff. Muzzle flashes, real muzzle flashes we filmed. There's a lot of great stuff here, so stay tuned, subscribe to my channel and wait for it. I will explain how they were made and offer you to buy them. If you want to support me, of course. So long story short, all this stock footages will be available on my Patreon for industry pathfinders. This basically means that for 50 bucks you are getting access to all the stock footage packs I've released on my channel and all the stock footage packs I will release. This is a pretty neat deal if you ask me, considering their quality and the work I've put into them. A link to my Patreon is always first one in the description. Thank you so much if you will. That keeps me moving forward. And we will begin with charges. So the first thing to keep in mind when you are filming the stock footages, it is almost ever better to not crop them. Because this way you will create a footage that has a lot more use case. It can be put on any place and it won't be cropped. You see that a lot of footages were like very uncarefully filmed, unsupervised, but I've made them all work. I cropped parts that was useless, made alpha for all of them, but sometimes you don't need the alpha. Sometimes you have the white snow and you can put it like with plus mode. It will work better sometimes depending on your situation and your background, you know. So you'll have to color correct them and merge them with your background. Grade nodes and stuff, make them, you know, the way you want. The gamma, for example. So anything you want, everything you can do with them. By anything, I really mean anything, because when you are working with footages, you found a way to use the motion you get from explosions in any explosion possible. That's why the charges pack is so useful. Yeah, who watched my truck explosion effects PhD course will understand what I mean. I did not grade them to look better because this way I will save more information. So let's begin with this example. It's fairly simple, although it is cropped, but it has less nodes here. First of all, what you need to do is to degrain the footage, and you don't have to restore the grain like in original composite because the footage should be degrained already. You don't need the grain inside of it. For example, in the Action Essentials stock footage pack, there's a lot of grain inside of Andrew Kramer's footages. If I will open it up now, so let's see if I have it somewhere here. So I have the 32 gigabytes version. So if you like take like a smoke and you look at it, you'll see that the grain remains there. So maybe this is just the compression. Either way, this is not a good thing. You don't want to deploy the high quality versions in the PNG codec. Well, PNG codec inside of Move container is pretty good for low weight of the file, but it's definitely no good for quality. The quality of the footages. It will have the best weight, but it will be like the lowest quality file you can deploy, you know. So better to have like something like ProRes 4444, as it will store the alpha channel. Any other ProRes you will render to will not store the alpha channel, and the ProRes 4444 will save the alpha you've extracted and put into the stream here. So that's another thing I've learned. Take notes, guys. This is like really crazy experience giveaway here. You are not listening already anyway. I guess you can watch it later on if you will do something like that. So I've used the grade nodes back then to key things instead of keyers, but you can use keyers. It doesn't have to be grade nodes, but the point is to key out the footage in the different channels separately so that you can get every detail you can possibly get from every channel. So for example, you let's see the chart here. So for example, if you look into red, green, blue channel, see they differ. That's because the snow is different colors, some where you can extract more dirt, and you can definitely use all this contrast in different channels separately to get a better key than if you would just use the luminance key, for example. So the luminance key won't work as good as extracting the footage from each channel separately. So that's what I did with grade nodes here, but you can do this with keyers. So the next thing you can do is key out it by difference, because your camera should be static when you're filming footages. Let's talk about filming as well. Your camera should always be static, no walking in front of the camera. You will then have a lot of editing involved in your work, and this will lead you to, you know, a lot of madness separating files to their frames, because Nuke renders everything nicely into ProRes format, or you will have to learn something, you know, like Nuke Studio to process everything without losing the information and after the editing. Of course, you can try to process it through Premiere, but you know, this 32-bit files, I'm not sure about Premiere, really not sure. Maybe into XRs it will take 2 times more space, then back to Nuke and then comp them, as I did here from the red footages. Edited them first as well, because red footages will like 16 terabytes altogether, and I've edited them into the XRs so that they weight a little bit less. So let's see more exactly what I'm doing here. I'm keying them in one of the channels, processing one of the channel in the grade node. No specific way to key, but anyways, everything is understandable. Then I'm cutting something out that I don't need. Looks like some stuff that was not properly keyed out. These static things I'm cutting out of here. And then I'm putting the red channel into the alpha channel. Then I'm doing the same thing with the difference key with the green channel. So I'm first comparing the still frame with no explosion with motion picture, and then I'm keying out it from the green channel of the difference output. Then I'm putting them together here with channel merge node. You see green union alpha node. Well, this is the specific way I've done things back then. You can do them more clearly. I'm just trying to deliver the concept here, because the same things can be done in After Effects. Yes, they can. In After Effects, in a compositing software. Don't say me, they don't. Then I'm making the time echo clean plate here. What the time echo clean plate does, it is comparing inverted time echo with maximum mode. It gives like the darkest spots of the plate in the moment of time, and depending of how much frames you'll set it to, the heavier it will be and more frames it will compare. And this way, by minusing it from the original footage, you will get the bright parts of it, which should be effective when keying out bright spots on top of the black spots. To be honest, now with my experience now, I wouldn't do such thing on the static footage, because you can just take the frame hold as I did here and compared it with difference. So if you take like a minus, I think I will get the same thing. Let's see. So this is the minus mode with frame hold. This is the minus mode with the time echo. I think that the minus mode with frame hold already covers it. I think that this is not needed here. Just was such a perfectionist that I wanted to do like a perfect stock footage back, and looks like sometimes I was overdoing this due to my lack of experience. And that's basically it. Without grading, no grading, don't do this stupid grading, because if you will do, the footage will sell better because it will look like it is more contrasty, but it will have less information. Never do grading for more money. Instead, do the stock footage pack that the people actually need, right? So that's basically the setup of these explosions. I see sometimes the footages were really bad in terms of shooting, like going out of the frame. This is the reason why they are here in the backdrop. The ones that are in the stock footage pack deployed are like separated from the backdrop. This will mean that they are sellable and they are useful. It's the kind of footages you will want to use because they don't go outside of the format. This is one thing you should remember. You should almost never clip the footage with the format, because this way you will limit its usage very strongly, as people will be only able to use it for close-ups where they have to scale it and crop it anyway. So unless you want to, film something specific like that, this thing is also in stock footage pack in Patreon, by the way. You should always not crop your footage. But this is like the close-up. There's a reason why it is cropped, because this is the only way you can film it. So let's take a look here at more advanced example that suffered more corrections as it was deployed. So it has the same reduced noise, no grain restored. Then I have separate grade nodes. This is basically the setup which we've already seen on the previous example. And then we have some core. With the core, it's really hard to, when you are dealing with explosion, to find this, golden medium of not overblowing it and making things opaque enough to not lose any detail. Because at the end of the day, when you will be using this kind of footage, you will always have full control on it. You can always lower down its gamma or make it different color like sand, or I don't know. So you always should think about final user, what kind of situation he will be in, what kind of color depth he will need. So you see there's no motion blur at all, because all these explosions were filmed in slow motion, and this is the reason why we can see all these small little details of them that are not motion blurred at all. So the motion blur is your responsibility as a compositor. I can't bake the motion blur inside of ProRes. I wanted to bake it into the EXRs, but it could took really a lot of my time, and I didn't want to be so nerdish. Yeah, this is the core. So this is the core. This core made out of green channel. I'm keying it out in the greens channel, delaying it. I'm kinda modifying it here, and then filtering and blurring it until I get nice soft core to be added into my stream. Yeah, so it mostly affects the ground, as the transparent parts of the footage shouldn't be affected too much, and this is how it works. Perfect. And the time echo clean plate, which we don't need, as I already said. Yeah, basically the same thing as difference, but keys out lesser details. Honestly, I don't know why I've done this. It definitely is an overkill. And that's basically the main things I can say about their compositing. So let's talk more about deploying. When you save the footage, you will have a decision to make. How do you present it? Will you grade it? Will you pre-mold it and deliver it with the alpha with no background like that? My answer is you do nothing with it, because everything you do here will limit the final user's color depth. You have to deploy it like that, without grading or without all this shit we wanted to do at the first hand, and then you bake in its alpha so that the final user will pre-mold the footage with your alpha and use it as he wants. Or he won't pre-mold it at all and will be able to create his own alpha if he needs. By the way, After Effects users, don't be afraid of this pre-multiplication node. You should be not afraid of such things if you are a compositor. But if you are afraid, the After Effects will do the pre-multiplication for you, so don't be afraid. You see, it already pre-molds the file as soon as you import it to After Effects. To be honest, I don't like it. I always want like a full control of the footage I'm using. I don't think that this is the best way to, handle alpha. You can change it in the interpret footage main. You can, for example, ignore it. Then you will have like the file without the alpha, and you can duplicate it, and for the duplicated version you cannot ignore it. And you can like maybe duplicate this one and use it as an alpha matte like that, and you will have the original colors here, and this will at least give you like a full control like in Nuke, right? This looks a lot more logical to me. And the pre-multiplication either way will work a lot better if the footage will have the original background, because this is the source footage on which the values of alpha will be multiplied to. And if you just pre-mold it before you deploy it and save it with alpha like that, the final user will pre-mold it again and will crop the edges, crop all the transparencies, because he will multiply them on the alpha again the second time. It will give the wrong output. This is pretty important. So no post-processing for the final result. Never a good thing. Maybe you can have like its thumbnail graded or its preview version graded to attract customers, but the actual product should be unchanged. So this don't count the reduced noise, because otherwise the compositor will denoise it anyway. So this way you're just helping him, like making this for him. Moving on, about the shooting. If you are a supervisor and you have a control on how you're gonna shoot the footages, you should really think about the background you will be using and the stuff that will be in front of it. Because for different color foregrounds, you will need the different color background, right? So for example, let's see where the mistake was made here. So I think this is fine. I think this is fine. The most of the stuff is white. Well, not bad, not bad, bad. You see, there is a lot of pieces of dark colored ground is flying with the white snow. And these dark colored sheet spots are the same color as the background. This will mean that you won't be able to key them out with anything in front of this background until you will specifically get its color, but usually won't, because it's like dark in front of the dark background. So this screen is wrong. There should be a green screen or a blue screen here. This will work a lot better for this footage. And then you have key lights instead of the grades. Let's see where they are here. I remember me keying here a footage with green background. Alright, here we go. The key lights. Also a lot of nodes. But it will work better because in front of the green you can key like almost everything that is not green or yellow. It will work perfect. You just despill it and you get your result. Get your alpha. Will work perfectly. So always be careful with the screen you're choosing. The black screen will work good for everything that is bright. And I can't say that snow is like perfect thing to be filmed on the black screen, because the black screen is kinda more for things that are self-illuminated, like fire. We'll talk about the fire more in the next part of the stock footage pack release. Alright, and another thing you'd like to have before deploying pre-keyed visual effects elements is the render manager. If you are working with something like After Effects and Premiere, you'll probably be okay with using Adobe Media Encoder. But if you are working with Nuke, and actually in any scenario, I encourage you to get a render manager, because this way you can schedule your jobs and attach more slaves, as they are called in Deadline, to render for you. I know what you're thinking. I only have Kirill laptop here and it's saying that it's stalled. Well, I had a whole small cozy studio in St. Petersburg with my own Linux machines and Windows machines before the COVID hit, and I had to immediately sell everything. And I can say that rendering through Deadline is very cross-platform friendly. You can set the rules, change paths of the rendering inputs and outputs, so that Linux and Windows will render together. You can set the Mac path, and it is totally fine with configuring the paths of different machines to software. So it will understand any path of Windows or Mac or Linux. Just perfect. Can't say enough about it. And 2 nodes are free. If you are using more nodes, it will cost you money. So if you have a laptop, like I do, actually my laptop is not as big as you think. As you can see, it has like a lot of runes that give me additional skill points in computer graphics skill, you know, like in more RPG, I mean. This is Andrew Kramer's rune, +7 in After Effects compositing. This is Victor Press rune, +7 in Nuke compositing. And this is Sam Gorski. I found them with Ren, the guys from Corridor Digital, I mean, in SIGGRAPH 2019. Made them sign my laptop, so I will have all these runes collected of all the people I love. Although my laptop is broken, these runes still help me to not forget to love my job. Well, I think another thing that could help is subscribing to the CG Grace tier, which will help me to release more masterclasses on this channel, more breakdowns and more tutorials, so everything is in your hands. Thank you so much for your support, my visual effects soldiers, and my industry pathfinder Justin, who just found a job in the animation studio as a compositor. We had a couple of calls with him regarding his showreel and visual effects breakdown document, so that he will be confident enough to get a job, and he got it. But don't be lazy, Justin. Always try to be better. You are a great artist. Everything will be fine with you. So I've turned off this time echo clean plates that were not needed and thrown everything to Deadline, so as I will render them, I will deliver everything to Patreon, and all the project files are on Patreon. This script is also on Patreon, available for visual effects soldiers tier. Seriously folks, I'm now watching this video I've done, and I understand that I quite don't know what to talk about, because I have so much experience in it that I kinda don't know where to begin from, because, you know, we built a whole stock footage website actually with this stock footages, but it died. I don't know. Of course, it was always my dream to have a stock footage website, but I didn't have enough power in me, you know, to get it deployed. I also have experience in uploading them to Shutterstock, you know. They have very specific rules with which you should deal every time you upload something, and the first hundreds footages you will upload will be rejected. If you want me to talk about rules of Shutterstock and Pond5, have an experience in it, so ask me anything. Did a lot of on-set filming, supervising of stock footages, so if you have like specific questions, you can ask me in the comments and I will answer on all of them in the next release of the stock footage pack. Thank you so much for watching. If you will share this video, this could be a huge help, because as you can see, one of the things I'm pretty bad at is marketing. My name is Kirill Pleshakov. I'll see you in the next class. Have a great day. Goodbye.